Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your old pal, Mr. Butter, coming back at you again. Today I want to get into a pair of kicks that I actually forgot I ordered back in January. They showed up without warning, and I've been wearing them for about the past 2 weeks so that we can get into the good, the bad, and everything in between. If you're into kicks and you feel like hanging out, then hit that subscribe button. Let's take a look at these Yeezy SL01s. Alright, y'all, so right off the bat, I know before I get into this, I'm going to have some hate in the comments and that kind of thing. I know Yeezy kind of went off the rails again, which shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. These shoes had my attention back when they went up on the Yeezy site for a couple of reasons. One, because I love Yeezy slides. I like foam runners too, but I still wear Yeezy slides all the time. I work from home, and they're just so easy to slip on and slip off, whether you're taking the dog out or running to the market real quick or something. And two, they're just so stinking comfortable. I don't wear foam runners as much as I wear slides, but every now and then I still like to wear a pair of foam runners. Since I'm a fan of those other two Yeezy silhouettes, I definitely had my attention on these whenever I saw they were coming. Another reason I really like these is because they're $20. And compared to the slides, which I think they sold for 70 or 80 US dollars, and then the foam runners were around that retail price as well, these being $20, it's literally less than a third of what Yeezy slides or Yeezy foam runners cost. So I like how affordable they are, and from what I heard, they were the same kind of injection molded shoe like we saw on Yeezy slides and foam runners, and I was just curious about the comfort, the style, all that stuff. So I ordered a pair back in January. I know he went off the rails. I'm not going to touch on that today. This is a sneaker channel. I got a pair of $20 shoes. They showed up without any tracking, without any kind of update to the purchase or anything like that. I really wondered if they were going to show up at all, simply because ShopPay stopped supporting them. I don't blame ShopPay at all for that, but it left a lot of us who already placed orders wondering if we were going to get the items that we purchased. I am strictly keeping this about the shoes and just the review of a $20 pair of shoes. Actually, I also ordered the gray and the white pairs of this Yeezy slipper. Again, they were $20, and I don't know if I'll get them. That's kind of up in the air too. But since I got these and there were no updates or anything prior to them showing up on my back door, I kind of am thinking that I will end up getting the white and the gray pairs as well. But since this is a brand new silhouette and there's not really a bunch of information about them, I decided to do a wear test for these, and over the past 2 weeks, I've been wearing them around the house. I've been running errands in them. Stay tuned to the end because I actually wore these to the barber shop just to get an honest opinion about them, and you'll enjoy hearing what other people thought about them as well. I will show you some on feet. I took that throughout the past 2 weeks. Really, anytime that I'd have them on and I thought about it, I just hurried up and recorded like a minute or two of what they look like with whatever pants I was wearing at that time. So again, compared to the Yeezy slides and Yeezy foam runners, these were way more affordable at only $20. The first pair that released is just all black. Then it was followed by a white and a gray pair, but right now I have only received the black pair. I don't know if that gray or white pair will come or not. As you can see, it's got a size 10 sticker on this bag. This is what they were shipped in. They didn't come in a box or anything, but it's just kind of got like this bungee cord here at the top, and whenever you undo that, it's just like a drawstring bag, nothing really out of the ordinary. Here they are. There's not really a whole lot to these. They kind of remind me of those knit runners, at least the front of them. The shape kind of reminds me of the shape of the knit runners up here on the toe area. They also kind of remind me of the shape of Uggs. Whenever I'm wearing them, especially with baggy pants, I think that the toe box just kind of reminds me of what Uggs look like. My wife wears those a good bit. It was funny because I made a short about these, and in the comments some people were saying what they look like to them. I recall seeing somebody saying these are the Homer Simpsons, and that's pretty accurate. I also saw people saying these look like the Charlie Brown shoes that he wore in that cartoon. To me, the shape of them reminded me of Mickey Mouse's shoes. And I think Mickey Mouse's shoes were yellow in color, but just the smooth, rounded shape of them, it just looked like the same shoes that Mickey Mouse wore. There were a lot of comments where people said that there was zero ventilation, so your feet would get real sweaty and all that. I can say I didn't really experience any of that. I didn't find that to be a huge issue. I didn't think my feet sweat in these any more than what they did in Yeezy slides or Yeezy foam runners. They really didn't make my feet hot, but it hasn't been excessively hot around here. But even with that being said, I don't think they're going to be overly hot, and they didn't seem to make my feet very sweaty. This is the same kind of foam that we saw on the slides and also on the foam runners, but I will say this foam seems like it's a little bit more dense, like it's a little bit more hard under feet, and even on the sides of it, it seems like this foam is a little bit more dense. They just don't feel as squishy as what foam runners or as what Yeezy slides do. I will say that they are quite comfortable, and for wearing around the house or for walking to the mailbox or running an errand, they suited me just fine. With the sizing, I went with a size 10 as soon as they went up on the site because that's my true to size. However, after I placed the order, then I started hearing people say that the sizing was in EU sizing, and I think my equivalent in EU sizing should have been a size 9. So these do fit big. If you just go true to size, they are going to fit big. They don't rattle around on my feet or anything near as much as like what Crocs do, and it's not like they're unwearable, but I think ideally I would go with one size down, and that should be perfect. But going true to size definitely gave me too much room in them. It didn't cause any discomfort. It didn't cause any like irritation from rubbing or anything like that. And again, it's not like they rattled around on my feet like Crocs do, but I just have some extra room. You really notice it here at the heel. There's just a gap whenever I put my foot into them. So if I had it to do over again, I would have gone one full size down, but at that time there was no guidance or anything, and at the time that I ordered these, I didn't know that they were talking about UK or EU sizing. I just went true to size, but my advice would be to go a full size down on these. The traction is pretty simple on these. It really reminds me of the traction that we see on Yeezy slides, but the teeth aren't as big on this pair of Yeezy slippers as they are on Yeezy slides. So just for reference, here's the Yeezy slide tread, and ignore these because they're beat. I pretty much wear these all through the yard, and I haven't washed them off in forever, but they last forever and they're so comfortable. But anyhow, you can see the teeth for the tread on the Yeezy slides are pretty big. On the slippers, they're a whole lot smaller, and I think that this tread kind of helps this shoe feel more squishy under feet, whereas this one is more of a firm support underneath your foot. One other thing on the outsole of these is it does have the size there. I think that's really the only markings on the entire shoe. I didn't see anything on the inside of it or anywhere else. I actually like the way that they look on feet. I prefer the look of these to the look of Crocs. I think I even prefer the look of these to the look of foam runners. And I actually grabbed a pair of my foam runners so that I can show you the shape side by side. Here's my most worn pair of foam runners. I forget what they call this. MX Carbon, maybe? Maybe that's wrong, but whatever it is, here's the foam runner. I feel like this is a louder shoe than what this is. I think this is way more under the radar than what the foam runners are. And I also kind of like how the front of these are way lower to the ground than what the front of the foam runners are. Like, they're just really high and they come up, and as I said before, they're just a pretty loud shoe. But the slippers really aren't like that. I can also say that the back of foam runners, sometimes it does irritate my heel, but I don't get that same irritation from the back of the Yeezy slippers. So I probably do prefer the look of this shoe on feet. I'll still rock these a whole bunch, but another thing that I really prefer about the Yeezy slipper is the fact that it's closed over the toe, because when I wear slides and I take the dog out to go to the bathroom, my toes get wet. Whether it's the morning, whether it's evening, it's just my toes end up getting wet, and I hate that feeling. The same thing happens with Crocs, and the same thing happens with Yeezy foam runners, simply because there's holes all throughout of them. Well, with these, I don't have to worry about it, and I can slip them on just as quick, take the dog out, walk through the grass, do whatever I need to, and my feet are completely dry. So I really like that aspect of it. As far as comfort goes, I probably do find these just a little bit more comfortable than foam runners. I think Yeezy slides are probably still my favorite as far as the comfort goes on feet, but I would say that the Yeezy slippers are somewhere in between slides and the comfort of foam runners. Another thing that I wanted to point out real quick, whenever I first received these, when they were in the bag and they were shipped, they were kind of sitting on top of each other like this. So when I first unpackaged them, there was a line in the front, and then there were lines up here around kind of like the collar area of the shoe, just from where it was pressed into the other shoe and it was shipped. But since I've taken them out of the packaging and I've been wearing them and everything, you can barely even see those little lines. I would say that over time, those lines just come right out and you don't even see those marks anymore. Another thing that I wanted to point out is I don't walk flat-footed or anything. Like, I wear these just like I would any other pair of shoes. And I do think that over time, you probably will get a crease up here in the toe box just from your toes moving and that sort of thing. I don't know if you can see that line going across there now, but I think over time, it'll probably get more evident. But again, it's a $20 pair of slippers, so that doesn't really bother me at all. I think for the price, this is a decent pickup. I think that as long as you leave politics and feelings about yay and all that kind of stuff out of it, this is a decent shoe for the $20 price point. I don't feel like I got gypped. I don't feel like they seem like knockoffs of anything. I think they serve the purpose quite well, and for 20 bucks, I'm a fan of the function that I get out of them. I'll go ahead and wrap up this in-hand portion. It's actually really cold out here, but I want y'all to stay tuned, see what they look like on feet whenever I wear them with a bunch of different outfits. Stay tuned to the end to see what my barber had to say about them, because I always enjoy getting his take on anything. Let me know down in the comments what you think about these, and let's go ahead and get to that B-roll. I'm out. All right, going run into town and grab my haircut. I want to see what my barber thinks about these shoes. And up here you'll be able to see, this is the city I grew up in, Cumberland, Maryland. They started calling it the Queen City probably a century ago, because at one time it was the second largest city in the state of Maryland. But it's a pretty cool little town. We're heading downtown and get our hair cut. Actually, the building that we're going to, my buddy owns. He bought it and he's been restoring it all, so it's pretty cool to see what's going on down here. All right, so downtown Cumberland, Maryland. Pretty cool little town. Let's see what he thinks of these shoes. I got a question real quick. Honest opinion, what do you think of these shoes? I know you'll give it to me straight. Would you wear these?
Wear them a day of my life.
You would never wear them a day? I know you'll give it to me straight. All right, what do you think? Would you wear them?
No.
Okay. All right. Don't hold back.